So this section is going to be the longest. It's going to focus on a COVID reminder, but then I'm going to lay out some of the protocols that we're going to be modifying when students return from Easter break. So the first sort of reminder is in regards to what to do when someone living in your house has COVID symptoms. And just a reminder, the COVID symptoms are in alignment with that symptom checker that we've sent out often. It's also on our school website. So if someone in your house, whether it's you or your husband or a sibling, if your parents live with you, it might be a grandma or grandpa, someone has COVID symptoms. Everyone in your household needs to quarantine until one of two things happen. Either the person who's symptomatic gets COVID tested and then it comes back negative, or the entire family goes through the quarantine process. More than likely, you're going to have that person tested. When the test results come back, if it's negative, everyone can go out and do their thing. If it's positive, then you would contact us, and we would be advising you on the quarantining period. So just a reminder on that. Now, on Tuesday, our school commission met. We had a special session, and the purpose for our meeting was to look at the COVID protocols that are in our relaunch plan that we set to open our school, and to see which, if any, we can relax, we can maybe modify, because since that plan was developed in July and August, a lot has changed. We've learned a lot. We have data. The CDC has changed some of their recommendations, and we have really not had a chance to take a good look at everything we're doing to see if there's things that no longer are necessary. So again, everything we laid out, and we took the time to kind of go through each one that we feel could be modified. A reminder on one thing before I kind of go into what those changes will be. Every single decision that we made this past summer, every single decision we continue to make, is grounded on the three pillars of academic excellence, health and safety, and social emotional. And like I shared this summer, those three are usually never going to be equal. So we have to weigh in and think, okay, is this decision the best for our students? So that was the lens we looked at when we discussed the protocols. So I'm going to go through, I think there's like 4 or 5 of them that I'm going to lay out for you and give the rationale behind. We want transparency, and I really want you to always feel comfortable with the decisions we've made. Do be mindful that when we're making these levels our decisions at a school level, we're looking at the broad picture. We're not looking at individual students. So it's what's best for the school as a whole. So the first is going to begin actually tomorrow. This first protocol change is starting tomorrow, and it really just impacts 3rd through 8th grade students. We will no longer be transitioning students to virtual while they're awaiting testing. And here's kind of the backstory on that. So we're very blessed that test results are coming back so fast. Usually it's the same day, 24 hours, very rare that it's going beyond 24 hours. We put this protocol in place to transition students to virtual while they're awaiting test after we open school, because it was taking 3, 5, sometimes 7 days for us to get test results back. So students were home, not receiving instruction for sometimes a week or more. So it went to the school commission, and we decided, yes, for sure, students should have virtual while they're waiting those test results. Now that that's changed and results are coming back really quickly, it really is causing more kind of work or more kind of chaos than it's really good. On the inside of the school, what you don't see is when a child is home getting tested, we have told the teachers the next day that child should be transitioned to virtual. So if you call your child in and say they're getting tested, that next day you'll get a link from the teacher with the virtual link for the Zoom and so forth. So we tell the teachers, okay, Jimmy Smith is out, and tomorrow you have to have him ready for virtual. Well, because we only have 2 students in the whole entire school who are receiving their entire instruction virtually, most of the kids have transitioned back into the building. We don't have many classrooms with virtual students, just 2. So the teachers have gone back to instructing in a more traditional way or pre-COVID manner. There are obviously some things that are looking different, but more hands-on activities, more small group work, discussion-based, things that become really difficult when you have kids that are, some kids at home and some kids in the classroom. So when we tell teachers you have to transition, they need to look at their lesson plans for the next day, which have already been developed, and then make modifications. So thinking, how am I going to make this activity work for a child who's home, swapping things in and out. Well, they're doing that. And then they get an email typically the next day from Kim saying, oh, we got the results back. This child's negative. You don't need to now put them virtual. So they're doing all this work and there really is no purpose to that. So that's why we're changing that protocol. Know that if testing does start to become a little bit more lag time and it becomes a longer duration where we're seeing the results come back, then we will obviously modify or evaluate this and modify if necessary. The second change that we're going to be putting in place, and this is going to start after Easter. So everything now from now on in this chat is after Easter. Right now, the teachers have been spraying our play equipment. It was kind of off limits for a while with the snow, but now that the snow has melted, our play equipment's back open. And the protocol that we put in place in the summer was to spray everything all the time. So they're disinfecting the play equipment after every recess. We know that the CDC has come out and has said that the chance of transfer on surfaces is not as great as it is in airborne face-to-face contact or face-to-face transmission. So not saying it doesn't happen, but it's a very, very small chance or small risk of that. So we are going to stop that practice of sanitizing after every single recess. The next change is in regards to bathroom breaks. So you probably don't even know this is happening, but within the building, our classes are taking bathroom breaks together. That was put in place again this summer because we were very mindful that we wanted almost zero contact of the students outside their cohort. So we really kept them tight together. So if a child had to go to the bathroom, they had to wait till that class's bathroom break, and then the whole class would go to the bathroom. In the past, before COVID, if a child had to go to the bathroom, they'd raise their hand, teacher would say go, they would leave the classroom, go to the bathroom, and then come back in. Well, that's happening. There might be a first grader in the bathroom and a second grader in the bathroom at the same time. So we wanted to stop that practice. Now we feel pretty confident that we can continue or we can go back to kids taking bathroom breaks as needed because the amount of time that they're together is very minimal, maybe a minute at the most. Kids really just go in, do their business, and then come out of the bathroom. So that's going to be a change we're putting in place. This next one is probably the biggest change that we're making, and this one is based very, very strongly on the social emotional pillar of our plan. So to be really honest and transparent with you, our kids are struggling a lot at recess. They really have grown tired of their small group of 15 classmates. The blessing is they're a close family, but it also can be a struggle at sometimes for students because they're with these same kids all day, every day. And to make it worse, when they're outside, they can see their friends from the other classroom or see their friends from another grade level, and they can't play. They have to stay with their group. Kids were very compliant in the beginning. They still are compliant, but they're now starting to have some recess behavior issues. We have seen an increase in what we would define as major behaviors in the past 2 months. This includes aggression, frustration, intentionally annoying people. So I was out the other day and I saw a kid grabbed a ball and was playing keep away. No one thought it was funny. Everybody was annoyed with it from that class, but this child has continued to do that even though his peers had asked to stop. So just that type of behavior, it's turning into somewhat not fun for some of the kids. Recess should be that time where they go out, they play, they have fun. It's kind of that time of the day for the kids to just really have a mental break from their day. So we are going to be transitioning for students when they're outside at recess, starting after Easter. They can play with whomever they want to. We are not going to contact trace at recess because they're outdoors. If we have indoor recess, they will stay in their cohorts in their classroom. But anytime they're outside for recess, they can play. So there's no zones anymore. They can play on the equipment. They can play foursquare. They can play football, kind of whatever their heart desires. Some pieces to keep in mind is recess is 20 minutes. There is about 2 to 3 minutes it takes them to get outside and about 2 to 3 minutes to come inside. So at the end of the day, it's about a 15-minute window of time. And we feel that comfortable in the fact that there's greater air circulation outside, excuse me, and the fact that from a social emotional, that's going to outweigh the chance of the spread of COVID as well. So thanks for supporting that. We've thought long and hard. I've thought long and hard about this a lot. And I really feel like this is the best decision for our students for their social emotional health at this point in the school year. And then the last thing I want to address is I've received emails from parents saying, I heard the CDC changed the distance from 6 feet to 3 feet. So does that impact Lumen Christi, and what are you doing in the school building to make any changes? So it really doesn't apply to us that much for the main reason that they still say when masks are off, kids have to be 6 feet apart. Our cafeteria is not functioning as a cafeteria this year. Our 3K students are in that space. So the kids are eating in the classroom, and that's something we can't change this year. So knowing they have to eat in the classroom, they have to be 6 feet apart. We have to keep the desks 6 feet apart all the time. So what are teachers doing? Kids are spending more time in group work, small groups. Their masks are on during those times, obviously. But it's not as strict where you're at your seat all the time doing your work, and then 2 minutes as a group back to your desk. It's a little bit more relaxed in that regard. It is really nice to see classes are starting to function somewhat a little bit more back to how things were as well. If you have questions or comments on any of these changes, know that you can always reach out to me. School Commission is meeting in May to start to talk about what we can look at for the fall. And again, just keep watching these videos and I will always update you on any changes that we are ready to make.